Oh, jeez. Recorded live.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be, across the nation or around the world. Once again, you're listening to the VMware Communities Roundtable Podcast. This is podcast number 715. My name is Eric Nelson. With me today, I have my favorite co-host, Bob Plankers. Today is Wednesday, February 26, 2025. Bob, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm in sunny New Orleans for a little bit of Mardi Gras. We paraded last night with crew King Arthur, and I'm enjoying a little bit of vacation. You know, it's sunny out here. It's warm for a change. If you live in the area, you know it's been cold and snowy even, and that's just ridiculous. But I'm having a good time. How are you, Eric?
I'm doing great. I'm trying to look at your eyes to see how red they are and bloodshot they are.
I'm doing pretty good on that front. You know,
Yeah,
I've been taking it
sleep.
easy, as it turns out. You know, I'm getting old,
Nice.
man. You know, this partying just doesn't work the same way anymore. So.
Well, that's how it goes. It's Silicon Valley here. The weather is beautiful in Palo Alto. It is 70 degrees and sunny. So we have like a 1 day of Indian winter, I guess we should call it, or Indian summer during winter. Like a beautiful day. It's supposed to drop by 20 degrees tomorrow, and by the weekend it's storming and raining, and a high of 52 or something like that. But today is 71 and sunny and beautiful. I went outside, I opened up my shirt, got some sun, picked up some vitamin D, right?
You know, just called the cops, you know.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's what's going on here. But it's all good. It's beautiful
out here. Yeah.
Beautiful day in California. Pretty happy about stuff. And it is an exciting day. It is an exciting day going on. So we'll get to talk about the VMUG Advantage Broadcom portal that's going live next week, where you can go get your VCF licenses and your vSphere Standard Edition license. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk a little bit about Homelabs and some blog articles that got posted this week on what you might need as the machines to a NUC to run VCF at home. So we got a great blog article on that, and me and Bob and Frankie will cover that. Frankie's here to talk about his VCF training and what's new there, and Corey is on the phone, and we're going to talk about vExpert. That 2025 vExperts went out this week, so we're excited about that. So Corey, maybe we should do a drive-by, say hello to you, and talk about what's happened up in Utah.
Yeah, so things great here in Utah. Weather's actually been really nice. I think it hit about 60 degrees yesterday, so nice and starting to warm up here a little bit. vExperts went out live this morning. So just right in the middle of that process as we speak. The directory is live. Emails have gone out. And I'm excited. So we've got a whole bunch of new vExperts in the program and kicking things off.
All right. Well, awesome. We'll do a drive-by back to you in a second, because we'll talk a little bit about that. And Bob, I didn't say, like, how is the weather in what are you in, Minnesota or Wisconsin?
Well, normally in Wisconsin, I think
you're in the
40s or whatever. I have no idea. It's actually kind of nice.
Right.
I have no idea what the weather is right now.
Yeah. What's the weather in New Orleans?
Is it 75 degrees?
Oh, I hate you.
In fact, I'm showing up kind of pink and red here. It's like I got some sun for the first time in 6 months here. But,
nice.
It's beautiful.
All right. Good. And then, so let's talk a little bit about the news. A couple things in the news that we should pay attention to. One, next week is the Orlando VMUG user group meeting. So I think sometime next week, go check that out. It's at Top Golf, so it should be a lot of fun. If you get to swing a club, you don't have to pay. It's free to go, and it's free to play golf for free for the day. So they'll have a couple keynote sessions and a couple other sessions throughout the day, and then also you can hang out with your local chapter and play some golf, right? And then they put targets out there, and you swing some clubs, and there's food and drink. So it should be a good day in Orlando for UserCon. So if you are in the area in Florida, think about driving up and spending the day with the chapters that are in the Orlando area. So that's going on. Those are fun. I enjoy those because you get to, it's expensive per hour to play Top Golf, right? But they pay for it all. So you just go sit and swing some clubs, hit some targets, eat some food, drink some beer. And enjoy a couple nice keynotes, right? Which should be happening. Also, the Netherlands is, I think, in 2 weeks. So if you're in Europe and you want to go to the Netherlands, Hawk is going to be there. So he will be doing a a fireside chat with everybody to give you the state of the business. And let me tell you, Bob, if you've ever been on the all hands and listened to Hawk talk about the business, it's fascinating, right?
It is.
It is.
And he's very direct too, and that's startling to a lot of people, but it's refreshing to in the end, and it's worth the time to go listen to him talk. And
what I'd say is he dribbles over into the chip business too. A lot of times when he's talking, he talks about vSphere and data center, but he also kind of AI chip business is also kind of weaved into his narrative. So it is interesting just to hear his perspective of Broadcom as a whole and the industry as a whole and where technology is going. And so that's also fun just to hear what he has to say, right?
Yeah. There's also, if you don't mind me interrupting here, there's also a Wisconsin VMUG meeting in the Madison area in 3 weeks too. So people should put that on the calendar. I'll be speaking there along with some other folks. So
nice. Yeah. Definitely. Everybody's listening should be looking up their chapter meeting. We're doing a big push on chapter meetings this year, and we're funding some of them. So we are spending money to make sure that you have a place, you have some stuff to eat, and we're actually got a really good speaker bureau going now to allow chapters to have decent technical topics. So we are spending quite a bit more time on the chapter space these days. So fun there. Then also a Connect is coming up in St. Louis. Reg is open for that. Hawk's going to be there. Frank Denneman's going to be doing an AI keynote. And, we've talked about this in previous podcasts. If you're just dropping in, that's going to be a great one. We have Code Labs there. William Lamb's going to be there talking about, we're going to have the Nooks that we're going to talk about today. We're going to have some of those there. We're going to raffle off a couple of the Nooks, right? And we have Code Labs there where we, taking apart the Nooks and basically doing what we're talking about today. We're going to be there doing that for the 2.5 days. There is an unconference afternoon on the Wednesday, so I think it's the 23rd, 24th, 25th of April, where Wednesday we're going to do an unconference, and we're going to be talking on VCF install and config. And an unconference is you spend all your time with the audience talking, taking questions, letting the audience participate. So there'll be a 2-hour session moderated by somebody from VMware that knows their stuff. Not Bob. We're not going to have him there, but we'll have somebody real there. Yeah, right, exactly.
I'm still threatening to come down. I put in to come down. So
there you go.
Maybe I'll sneak in, but I'll just tell them my name is Eric. Yeah,
that's right. They'll let. Then you'll go to jail. Yep, they'll put you in debtor's prison. Yeah. And then they're going to do an AI session. So they're going to spend time, and that's like an unconference on Wednesday afternoon. Then Wednesday evening they have a meet and greet, so everybody will be there. Thursday is a keynote with Frank and a bunch of sessions all day, 4 different tracks. So a lot of sessions there. And then Friday, more sessions with Hawk finishing out the day at like 2 to 4, something like that. So a good 2.5 days. I think you can, if you get your VMUG Advantage and still get your early bird reg, you can get in there for like $375 or something like that. So for the 3 days, that's a deal. And you get some food with that. So really, it's just a break-even event for VMUG. And if you are used to going to user cons in the Midwest, a lot of the user cons aren't going to happen this year. Instead, they're just doing one big show for 3 days in St. Louis. So we'll all be there. The whole community team is going. So we'll be spending our time there, as well as Hawk and Frank and William and a lot of the other familiar faces, along with 60 different VMUG leaders. So if you want to connect with all the VMUG leadership and spend some time understanding where VMUG is going in 2025, definitely spend the $375, get your Advantage membership, and come to St. Louis and party with us. It should be a lot of fun. I think that's it for news. Oh, other than Explore is happening in Vegas this year, so there will be some tie-in to Connect in St. Louis to Explore in Vegas. There'll be some product announcements that kind of like kind of like watching a Super Bowl commercial. You know, you see some teasers a few days before the Super Bowl, and then you get the full on when you end up watching the Super Bowl. Well, same kind of thing at Connect. There will be some product announcements that will be super early, right? And then when you end up at Explore, you'll get the whole story. Plus, you'll be pre-briefed on a lot of the things. So it should be a lot of fun. And Explore's coming up. We're gonna be at Explore full conference as always. So looking forward to that as well. And Tony Foster asks, has the call for papers been announced for VMware Explore? I don't think they've done call for papers yet, right? So we're still waiting for that one to come out. We have been working with them. Typically, it is mid-March that happens, and so I think we're probably some number of days away. And I don't know officially, but my thought is that probably mid-March you can watch for that and call papers. They are going to do more community papers this year, so they are holding a lot more slots for community external sessions. They want it to be community focused, and so that will be happening. If you went to Explore in Europe, you notice that we put the community booths in the expo hall. They're going to build that similar thing for Vegas, and it was a lot of fun because all the vendors, all the community members, everybody's together. It was actually a really interesting way to run it. So we're going to run that way in Vegas this year. So and we're going to have bigger community theaters. So it's going to be bigger. Instead of 40, I think the theaters are going to double to like 80 seats per theater.
That's good. It was packed every time I saw it. Every time I walked past. So
right. But, yep. And so this year they're going to do that, and they are going to record everything again this year. So and I think they're going to take all the sessions and put them up on the Explorer content site. So we used to just record them community-wise, vBrownBag, and stick them out on YouTube wherever we could. This time they're going to be recorded by the show venue and put into the main content repository. So that should be better. So we're looking forward to that. Yeah. So they're investing more in our area, and VMUG will be there. VMUG's going to have a bigger booth this year. So a lot of community stuff going to be planned for Explore as well. And then, as I said, all the chapter meetings. So we should be there. So I think that's it for the news. Anybody have anything else from a news perspective? All right, Andy Nash, you got your vExpert. Well, he says email. He got his email. So yeah, we're trying to stay coordinated, do a marketing push, Andy. Yep, we're alive and well. Live streaming as always. So good news. So let's. What do we want to tackle first? Should we tackle
Corey first? I think Corey's got to get moving here. So
all right, he's doing that. So Corey, how many vExperts we actually get this year?
1,209.
1,209.
Is that down? What is that?
Yeah, it's down by 170.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, given that we no longer an EUC, you have to take out all the EUC, evangelists, because whatever the name of the company is over there, I forget the name.
The name too.
Omnissa, thank you.
Yeah.
Omnissa has their own Omnissa expert program, so I think it's not called vExpert, but I think it's called Expert.
Yeah.
And so several hundred of the vExperts now naturally went over to Omnissa. So we saw that, and that's to be expected. And so happy about that. And a lot of people, that's still 1,200 going, and the content seems to be better as well. So a little bit deeper dive on the content. Mm-hmm. Corey, what else is there to know? I know that you guys are talking Advantage. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're talking about VMUG Advantage. So complimentary from VMUG this year. All of the vExperts will have a membership to VMUG Advantage, right? Oh, cool. And that's and that's going to help them with vExperts with discounts on certification. And then I'm working with Frankie. We're setting up a call with vExperts here soon to go over and talk about like, kind of like where are you with your certification, right? Whether it's VCP or I'm sorry, the VCF or VBF, where are you? And then, how can we help, right? So I know Frankie's put together, got a class running. I actually ended up putting that out in the welcome email too, to go sign up for Frankie's class. So if you're not aware about that, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Frankie's putting together a class until March, on certification, and so he's got a lot of people in there. Frankie, who do you have in there with you running that?
So it's 3 employees. They're big in the community too. Gareth Edwards from the UK. He does a lot of community stuff, and he's very involved over at the UK VMUG. And then there's some newcomers. At least in my eyes, they really blew up last year. Stefan McTeef and James Tiffany, also from the UK. Yeah, so these guys came presented, and they were already doing this for other TAMs, so it just made sense to pair them up.
Yeah, I know you've had a couple of these, and the feedback that I've received is, they're really, really good. And so if you're not sure what I'm talking about, go look at your welcome email, go read it, go sign up for these. This is really going to help you advance your certification. So read over that welcome email. There's a lot of stuff in there. There's some other stuff that's new in the program this year. So we're doing some vExpert calls. So we always have our ad hoc vExpert calls where we talk to the business units and we do deep dives and things like that. We're doing some other stuff that's a little bit different. We're having some calls that are kind of career focused and conversations where it's a 2 to 4 panel, almost podcast style, internal just vExperts. Calls where I bring in people and we talk about things like Broadcom advocacy. So I've got Noelle Greer. She and I are going to do one with 2 other vExperts, and we're going to talk about kind of growing your channels and how Broadcom advocacy helps you do that, right? And so we're going to bring in some 2 vExperts that have used this application, and they're going to be able to demonstrate and show and talk about the value of that program. And so along with that, we're doing other things, career failures and accomplishments, and we've got a whole list of things we're doing. So we're doing 1 call per month on the career calls, and then the ad hoc calls we're increasing those as well. So we're going to do 1 call per month as well on that. So we're going to have 2 calls just for vExpert per month, and then our quarterly vExpert Pro call that we have as well. And so working with pros in their regions. So yeah, we've got all kinds of new stuff this year for vExpert 2025. And if you're looking back now and going, man, I really should have applied, reach out to me over email. If you're a previous vExpert and that's your thought now, and you think about that even for a month from now, reach out to me, ship me an email, and we'll get you back into the program.
So one comment. Go ahead, Bob. You go first.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think it's terrific. The vExperts, the community there has always been, and you mentioned talking about failures, career failures and stuff like that. It's always been a great community to sort of commiserate about that sort of thing and learn from each other. And I'm glad to see that that's still happening. Because it's not always sunny. It's not always roses and that, and what can you learn from it? You can learn from my misery, for example, and I hope people do, that sort of thing. So no, that sounds really excellent.
Yeah. Thanks, Bob.
And then the only comment I have, Corey, is just to make it clear to everybody that in previous years, when you got your vExpert app, you got all of the licenses for all the products in the vExpert portal. That's shifting this year. The VMUG Advantage free membership is in lieu of getting your licenses from the portal. We don't do that anymore. Now you get a free VMUG Advantage, which gets you your 50% off your certification. If you pass your VCF certification, you come into the support portal and there's a tab for your VCF certification in your support portal, and you will get all your licenses there along with bits. And what's really good about that is that we've always struggled with keeping the vExpert bits current, right? It's always been kind of a little bit of a challenge to keep
same stuff.
Yeah. Now it's in real time. So if something gets released, vExperts and VMUG Advantage members, if you pass your VCF, it will or VCP-VCF, it'll automatically update, and you'll be able to go get not only your license keys will automatically update, but your downloads will automatically update as well. So we're really excited about that. And thanks to all the experts are getting notified this today, I guess, this week.
Yeah,
and
email notifications are going out.
and you will go get your bits next week. So excited about that. Right, good times. Right. Well, that gets us to the VMUG, Advantage news, which we've already said, which is we're going live with this. So the portal, we've been UAT testing all last 2 weeks. We approved the deploy today. So today we unlocked all the workflows that allows this to deploy. We're still tracking down one bug that tends to make it hang 1 out of 5 times. When you come into the portal, it has to talk to Salesforce to verify your VMUG Advantage status. And we've got a bug filed with the Salesforce API team. We're tracking that one down, but otherwise we were confident enough to get it in the release stream, which will happen as part of the Broadcom support portal. They do updates once a quarter, and we're in that update. And so we're expecting next week it'll show up, and then we'll start promoting that once we tracked out that one bug, right? So we're hoping it by next Monday or Tuesday we'll have that tracked down, and it will go live. Super nice in that you just come in, it's nice tiles, you get to see your what license you're qualified for. It keeps track of when your Advantage expires. It keeps track of what your VCP-VCF timeline is. It's good for 3 years. We're going to have some kind of little way to go in every year and update and maybe ask you a couple questions. A little pop-up will ask you, are you still alive? And do you know who VMware is? And then it'll auto give you the next year's license keys. So you will have to go to the portal every year and do a little I'm alive to get your next license. Yeah, proof of life. And I think the VCF, Paul Turner and these guys who want to do a little more than just proof of life. They want you to, have some bit of information, but we're thinking less than 10 questions, some question answers that will do that. And we have not actually built that yet. So we're like, yeah, we'll do that. We got 1 more year to build that little pop-up. Yeah, right. That's a long time away. So that's excited about that. That'll go live. And then everybody will be able to update their bits, and you can get 8 now. 8 will be there, and then as new releases come out, we will finally not be behind on the vExpert delivery and the Advantage delivery of bits, which I think it's been like 2 years since we have had kind of stale bits for a while, right?
There's been a lot of stuff in transition. It's nice to see some of these projects complete. You actually get pushed out so people can use them. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that's true. And then that gets us to home nukes. So Bob, have you ever tried to install VCF on any kind of local hardware? I have tried to install I have not only tried, I've succeeded in installing VCF, but never on something as small as a nuke. And my stuff tends to be a little bit bigger. So yeah, I don't know. I've talked to William a little bit, and I always follow what you guys are doing with that, because I think it's really interesting and and we've got some folks in technical marketing that are really good wizards at making all this stuff run for labs and things like that, doing the hands-on labs pods and that, making it really small. And so yeah. How's that going?
So here's the challenge that I see, which Frankie's helped me with this, and so me and Frankie, Frankie, you can chime in as well if I get this wrong. But the challenge is they have a cloud manager now as part of VCF, right? And so that's a new app that you have vCenter, you have vSphere, you got vSAN, you got NSX, but now you got this cloud manager, right? And the cloud manager is the installer as well, right? So in order to install VCF, you have to bring up the cloud manager, and then the cloud manager package has all the bits for vSAN and vSphere and NSX all embedded in it, right? So that you bring this thing up and it then installs everything you need, right? It's a monster. You need like
Well, it's a
96
copy of
gig of
everything,
memory.
right? You know, like
Yeah.
the cloud builder appliance is a copy of everything already, and so now
Right.
you've got
Right.
you're going to end up with 2 copies of everything, which, you know, in a normal environment is not that big of a deal. But
Right. 100 gig
Homelab,
yeah.
yeah,
Right. Right. This is the challenge we have, is that you to find a NUC that allows you, because nowadays, kind of like the Macs, you know, they solder the memory right on the motherboards now, right? So, and all the low cost NUCs that you want to get for $300-$400 or $500, they got everything surface mount soldered, so you can't just buy a 32 gig, you know, with one sim in it and then put like 4 more sims in, and now you're a 96 gig or whatever you need to be at. They're soldered in, and so almost all of them you buy now are soldered on chips, and you really need about 96 gig of memory to get that cloud manager in memory to load and to get through the install process, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the challenges.
Yeah,
and when you're talking about NUCs, yeah, that's tricky.
Yeah, and it is nice, right? To how y'all are saying, a lot of people, you know, this is interesting stuff, and thankfully the community plays around with this already, right? So we almost never had to play, you know, start from scratch. So like another person I was talking to was Dale Hassinger, and so he does a lot of automation things too, and bouncing off ideas from him, and he was able to deploy things. And when I kind of told him what we were trying to do, right, just everything in one little thing, he's like, oh man, and right away, right, he's like, well, I see this issue, I see this and this, and I was like, oh dude, too many issues. So then we had to change the subject, because he's a very smart guy too. So he's like, you know what, let me play around with it and see. It's just everybody, right? And I love the brainstorming.
And the benefit for me is that you can have it running without having fans, because the super micros and some of the bigger machines that you can get that have enough memory and enough CPU also generate a lot of heat. And now you got to keep them cool, which is your power bill at home, and then your noise at your desk, right? So that's what's nice about the NUC, is that they're generally small footprint, low power, low cooling. So if you could get it to work, then you're not into running a little mini data center under your desk.
Yeah, and well, we might not mind a mini data center under our desks or in our basements or whatever. Our wives and other folks in our lives, might actually, what is that thing? Why is it making so much noise? That sort of thing. So just well, and a lot of this goes to like ESX is used in a lot of embedded environments places as well, and so like all of this knowledge that you're gaining there, Frankie, with figuring this stuff out and sorting all this stuff out, like that's it. It comes back to we end up using it for industrial control systems, helping people with that, and all these other uses too. So there is actually a market for little ESX out there, and so figuring out how that works, how that plays with the cloud stuff, that's all. Yeah, it's a work in progress.
Yeah, and I should loop back and say, for VMUG Advantage and for your Homelab environment, if you just want vSphere, there is a way you can just pass your VCP-VVF, and that pass will get you a free vSphere Standard Edition Homelab license.
Well, if you get VVF, that'll have operations in it as well. You get the VROPS equivalent. Then won't
yes and no. What I was saying is that you have to pass the VCP-VVF test. But if you pass it and you don't buy Advantage, you don't want to spend the $200 on Advantage, or $185 with the discount code.
So you just get raw vSphere Standard. That's pretty cool.
So if you're on a budget and you're on a real budget, then you can go pass your test. Now the test costs $125 for the test, and you get half of that off if you buy the Advantage. So you're only going to save like $50 if you don't buy Advantage. But if you don't buy Advantage, we're still giving away free vSphere, once you pass that test, which is the same as what we used to do when we gave away free SXI, right? Like you can still get vSphere, run it at home. Doesn't cost you any extra money other than you do have to pass You have to be. We want you trained. We want you to be VCP certified every 3 years, right? And technically, if you divide that cost into 3 years, the tests cost you $50 or $60. Then, if you get Advantage, you divide it by 3. It's not that expensive. So, and then you get vSphere, and you don't have to deal. You can just run on a NUC, right? So, a regular little 32 gig of memory, even a 16 gig memory NUC will run vSphere. No problem.
16, right.
Yeah, but then the other problem is memory, but then it's also number of cores. So because you're running NSX and you have to have 3 ESX servers to run NSX, and you need vSAN, which is another 3 or 4 ESX servers. Then you need vCenter Server Appliance, which is just a VM. That's a VM appliance. But then if you want to use
that is big-ish, so.
And then high availability, if you want RAID on your vSAN, that's an extra couple of ESX servers that split the disk management across, or maybe it's vSAN splits that disk. So you need 5 ESX.
Failures to tolerate.
Right. So by the time you're done, you need 9 ESX servers.
Oh, yeah. It's not that bad.
No, it is. Yeah, that's how many you need. Like the default is 9 to run VCF. Full stack, right?
I'm gonna have to look at that then.
Yeah, that's the way we calculate it. Which, in order to have enough cores, and then the cloud manager. Don't forget the
cloud builder. Yeah,
the cloud builder has to also
cloud builder
run.
You can run on a workstation somewhere. It doesn't have to live in the environment itself. You can get.
It does not have to. That is the.
And you can delete it afterwards. Yeah.
So, I run it on a PC. And deploy it into my lab machines, that sort of thing. So
and in the mathematical pureness, if you want to say you're running all of VCF on a NUC and nothing else, then then you need about 24 cores. Well, the NUC that we have on this blog article, which it's fojta.wordpress.com, talks about it. This guy is a machine that has 16 cores, which is pretty close to have enough cores. So there's a core requirement that all of the VCF needs, and technically it's like you're supposed to have like 24 cores. The current AMD processor you can get in these NUCs has 16 cores, right? Or it has 8 cores dual thread, so you get 16 for that. And so then you should be able to run it, and that's what we're testing right now. That's what William's testing. And then this blog article, and I need to go look up who this guy is so I can officially say what it is. I can't click on it though. It won't let me click on it. We'll find the guy's name and do a shout out for him. Yeah. And he has that, and it's a good article. It covers the. Let's go get it here. I got it right here.
Their name is Thomas. I'm Posta. I don't know how to say their last name.
We're terrible with names here, Thomas.
Yeah. All right. I got the article up now. What I want to do is it's a GMK Tech K8 Plus mini lab, right? So again, he calls out what you need for memory, what you need for the SSD. You want 2 SSDs, one for tiered memory, one for installing. I think he actually calls out 3 SSDs, right? In this guy.
Yeah, that's one is the boot drive and just the local volume, one for vSAN, and then one for memory tiering. Memory tiering is pretty sweet when you turn it on. The ability to simulate. SSDs have gotten so fast that you can, emulate memory with them, and so all those application memory leaks and all that stuff, you can page them out to disk. And your VMs don't even know. So that's pretty cool.
And also too, there William posted, and of course, right? William was one of the first ones to find it. The 128 gigs, the DIM6, I think maybe they were 128. I don't even remember, but he posted it, and that's what we also got, right, to try and throw in there.
Yeah, that density has been going up. Yeah, he was talking this week or last about some of the new capacities that are out there, and that's really cool. But we really need these folks to get. Whoops, I keep losing my camera time's out here. We need 32 cores and 256 gigs of RAM in a box that's like that big. That would be perfect. One of those framework computers that were announced yesterday. I don't know if you guys. Oops, hey, come back. You guys just don't get to see me for a second. That's all. Those framework computers. Did you see those things? Oh, the announcement about those, that the 32 core, 128 gigs of RAM in a very small package, that sort of thing. So, anyhow.
No, I did not see that. I'll go ahead and Google it. Yeah, I have my
framework computer. They've been known for their modular laptops that are really Linux friendly and stuff like that. They announced a desktop computer yesterday too, and it's actually pretty sweet. Here, pardon me for just a second. I'm going to reset my.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. I'm just looking at the blog article to try to figure out, did he actually have enough slots to put in all of the SSDs, right? Or did he use the trick with the Wi-Fi card? And I think he
used an adapter for the Wi-Fi card.
So did he?
Yeah.
Right. And then he used the Wi-Fi slot for another SSD?
Yes, I think that's maybe where he put the boot drive, because it was a small one.
Right. That seems to be the case, right? So that means he had a boot drive that's using the Wi-Fi card slot. He's got I can't tell if that's what that is or not. I can say that, but and then two external, one SSD for temp memory tiering and one SSD for the installation and VMs, right? So and that's his storage. Sets that up, has it all in, and it looks like this guy does have a fan. So it does have a fan, so you will get some noise. It has a top-mounted fan that has airflow across the top of the boards, so not good. And then he just, I'm trying to look at how much memory he puts in this guy as well, right? I think he does two 128 LPDDR RAM, which gets him 256 of memory, maybe. Let's see.
So memory, if I'm reading this right, up top at the beginning of the article, it says that he's got 2 by 48, and so he has 48 gigs.
248 would be 96.
Yeah.
And he says maybe up to 128 with the new 64 gigabyte density SODIMMs. So he says he's using 96, but you should be able to get these other two, and he links to it to get up to 128 gigabyte. So that's it, 128. I could have swore he also listed 256 somewhere, but I don't see that. So I don't see where I read that. So it looks like 128 gig of memory max, which is enough. That's over the spec, so yeah, good enough, right? Which is what William is working on right now. And then the only thing we don't know is the new release of vSphere that's expected out in May that I will not mention the number for.
We've announced it already.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm just not allowed as a media person to mention the number anymore.
I just said it. Whoops.
Yeah. I didn't hear it. Yep. And so that one's coming out, and we are doing some testing on that as well to make sure. And that's where the 128 gig of memory might be needed, right? Because everything gets a little bigger. The other thing that William is talking about is that they're going to come out with another AMD chip sometime in August that will have, instead of 16 cores, they're going to have 8 cores dual thread, which is 16. They're going to come out with 12, which will then be dual thread. So you'll get 24, which would be absolutely good enough for the next release, right? So we're trying to see whether that's the case. Now, that kind of bad price of all this, you're going to spend $1,200, right, to get all this, even if you get a good deal. I think you get a good deal for the base machine at like $900 for the Nook. And maybe these prices will come down in the next 6 months as, technology ages. And me and William have both had this conversation that, in another year, this won't be an issue, right? That these guys will be in the mainstream. The AMD processor with 24 cores and threads will be out, and the price will come down, and we should see this stuff under $800 for your home lab, right? So, But right now it's bleeding edge.
It's still worth it. You know, I'm of the opinion that a home lab is still worth it for a lot of folks. You know, in environment. My camera is going to time out here.
We don't need your camera. Everybody
No,
listens to
I've got a
podcast
face
anyway.
made for radio anyhow.
Right,
so
yeah, that's
it's
right.
all
And
good.
a voice made for television. Isn't that what?
But yeah, something like that. But the yeah, having a home lab, I truly believe that it's a real enabler as far as career progression, just trying stuff out on your own, you know. And yeah, should you have a test environment at work? Yeah, probably. You know, the old joke about everyone's got a test environment. Some people have are lucky enough to have a separate production environment too. But you know, should you have a test environment? Yeah. But a test environment that's just yours, that you can do whatever the heck you want with it, is glorious. It really is. And so, yeah. Frankly,
That's a game changer. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly what you said. Right. I in the old environment that I used to have, it was just production, and that there was no separate test environment. Well, I was able to go downstairs, right, and like we had stickers on the red stuff. Yeah, we had red stickers on servers that were going to be decommissioned. So I was like, hey, nobody's using this, and then
liberate a couple of them, and yeah,
exactly. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let me just download this custom ISO, and nobody knows anyway. And I would install it, and like, yes, I got a lab, and little by little, and I was like, okay, you know, let me just hide over here in the corner with my stuff, and but yeah, and as we're doing like trainings and things like that, there's only so much you can do, right, with the VMware hands-on labs. And yes, it is a game changer if you're able to afford and you're able to have something small. Well, in your case, Bob, you don't use small stuff, but yeah, if you're able to have some
stuff, but yeah, just something that's yours, man. You know, like you're repurposing old hardware. That's great. You know, that's the way to do it. So,
and what I would say is that I'm also then another article that we published in the stream here in the chat is article from blogs.vmware.com. Professional services. Their professional services blog have 4 steps to converting a VMware vSphere environment to a VMware Cloud Foundation environment. So you go find that blog article. It's in our chat, but you just go to the professional service on blogs.vmware.com and search for it. They talk about the fact that if you want to avoid booting up this cloud manager or cloud, whatever you call it,
builder,
Bob.
yeah,
Cloud builder. I keep doing that wrong. But if you want to avoid the cloud builder, what you can do is install vSphere with NSX. The vSphere with vSAN. Don't install NSX, and there is an upgrade path that will upgrade it.
Import thing,
right to VCF, and it doesn't use the cloud builder at all. It'll install it, but it doesn't boot it up. It doesn't try to install from the massive gigabytes of that appliance, which means you don't need as much memory, and you should be able to get it done in 64 gig. Right. And so install vSphere. So I'm going to take one of the old vExpert NUCs, and I've gotten it to run with 64 gig of memory, and I'm going to install ESX and vSAN on it, and I'm going to follow that blog article and upgrade it and see if I can get everything running on 4 cores. And VCX 181, Mark Hebert says it should work. So we'll see. We'll see if we can get that back on.
Right. Yeah. That's the fun part, and I love that. Right. You're saying that kind of stuff, right, for the public. You know, the community knows. Hey, we're over here trying to break stuff and fix stuff and make stuff up as we go too, which is fun, right? Yeah. How Tony said over here in the chat, right? We're all engineers. It just we just love it.
Yeah, just try it and do it, and it's kind of like if you want to learn something, teach it to somebody else. Right. And I would say if you want to learn something, try to make something work. Right. Try to do something interesting. And so that's what I'm up to. And
the number of questions on a weekly basis that I get that, you know, from people that if they had just tried what they're asking about, they'd see how it works, you know, like, and yeah. So just try it. You're right. I'm sorry. You were starting.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. And I smile because I think I asked somebody a question last week, which was the same thing. And before the person got back to me on GChat or whatever, I just want, let me go try this. And then I answer my own question, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I had to
A
go
lot of
back.
it's really just straightforward, you know, like, yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And so excited about that. And then we're going, if we can get that to work, we're going to, you know, on a low memory machine just for fun, then we're going to do that at Connect as well. So we'll have the bigger machines, the $1,000 Nooks that we've been talking about here. Then we'll also show up with some of the little ones and show how we got to where we are on a little machine as well. And that's kind of good because a lot of us have PCs at home that might have 64 gig of memory on it that, you know, I could carve out to put VCF on it, for not even talking about a Nook, just any of these machines, right? But how many of us have, 256 gigs sitting around in our old PCs?
Well, desktop PCs can't even have that, you know, and
Right,
so you'd have
right,
a workstation or whatever, and that's the rub until a desktop PC can have 256 gigs of RAM, which I'm hoping that you and William are right, that next year all of the stuff goes away as far as the hardware development.
Yeah, constraints. Yeah, right.
You know, that's going to be glorious. But until then, we're stuck with 192 is about as much as I've been able to get into any of my test PCs. You know? Yeah,
right. And it's funny because we did a hackathon not too many years ago, and William came and built super micros, right? And put 256 gig of memory on them and terabytes of storage, SSDs, and it was all cutting edge. And I didn't realize at the time how much horsepower these guys had in them, right? You know, these were super micros, which are about twice as big as a Nook. So they're actually really nice little machines, but they're expensive. They're a couple grand, right? And by the time you build them out, it's like $3,000 per one. And they're noisy because they got like 4 super loud fans in them.
The fans and the
and you boot them up, it's like a jet engine in your garage, right? I'm like, I can't be doing this, right? So then you can buy online. You can go to Amazon though, and you can buy silent fans, and then you can buy them or replace them. They're only like $30. You can get a whisper fans, so you can play with that.
Can't this just be easy? You know, I want to play with the software, not mess around with the hardware all the time. Hardware's somebody else's problem, right?
No, I like the stuff. The software.
I do too. I'm just joking.
I like the stuff.
I've always enjoyed the hardware. I think we've gotten too far away from the hardware. That's why
my wife says all I do is shit shift. Sorry for the swear word, but that's what she says. Like I just go around and take apart stuff and put stuff back together, and I never actually do anything with it. I'm just always messing with stuff. Right,
yeah. So. Well, you should see my workshop. Yeah. I think you and I would get along in that regard as well.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I think all older tech guys end up, that's becomes our life. Right. So it's that. Yeah. Well, I know we've been going for like over an hour here. We're coming up the top of the hour, and I don't.
Well, we never got to, did Frankie talk to completion about the classes and stuff? I don't think we ever got back to his certification classes, did we?
I don't know, Frankie. What else do we need to know? You're
Frankie,
running classes every Tuesday, Frankie. Gosh,
you're helping people.
You'd have to be in a cave not to know about Frankie's classes.
So now that we have VMUG established, right? VMUG Advantage established. Now that we have our newly minted vExperts in place, excellent, with some VMUG Advantage on top. So now we're building the Sunday ice cream here, and then people are getting their Homelabs, excellent. So now the only other part that you need is a certification, right? So yes, if you pass your VCP administrator exam, and if you're looking into that, which you'll need in order to get these free licenses, we have a couple sessions that we're running. We are partnered up with a couple of Broadcom TAMs that have been helping other people already, and so and luckily they're also VMware code coaches. And Waldemar also as well. So he's over here in the chats too. So we have been having these sessions and they're going on. We have 2 more left, right? So 2 more Tuesdays coming up. The next session is next Tuesday, 6 a.m. Pacific time, or in 9 a.m. Eastern time. We're going to be covering Tanzu and IaaS. And then the final session, so in 2 weeks, we're going to it'll be just an open session so that anybody can ask anything about the objectives, whatever it is that they want. And yes, people have been reaching out, internal and external. saying that stuff is actually helping. So that is phenomenal, right? If we can help one person, which was I think my goal, which is great. But yeah, people are actually using the resources, paying attention, and once we look at the objectives, we definitely see that everything is pretty much vCenter server based, right? So definitely your milk and cookies right here, and then obviously your SDDC manager. So SDDC manager is the one thing that people are if you come from like a vSphere background, it's the one thing that people are most unfamiliar with. So that is of course where we've focused all of the sessions on. Yeah, so if people want to check it out, it's on the VMware Code YouTube channel, and we currently have 4 sessions in there right now, and again 2 more sessions coming up. The great thing about if you yourself are not administering the environment and your mind is over more on the architecture side, I'm currently working on the exam guide, the community exam guide for that test, and we're coming up with what the study group is going to look like for that as well. So expect that to happen in a couple of months. Not too far from now, but if we want to get people certified, please reach out if you want to help. If you have certain questions, just reach out. We're always here to help.
Nice. Yeah, great work. Yeah. And I know people have passed their certification already, and they haven't even got to the end of your content yet. Depending on where you are in your journey. For me, I had to learn everything, and I still have to go back and do the SDDC broker. No, that wasn't called broker. The SDDC cloud
SDDC manager. There's
manager.
There's
Cloud builder. I did have to do the
I'm new
cloud
at this
builder.
stuff too, man. I'm old school vSphere, so this is all.
Yeah, it's like I just have to go, but I do have to do this SDD cloud builder because I think it's part of the exam, right, Frankie? I don't know anything about it, and I have to go learn it.
So the cool thing here is this exam. I looked at the exam guide, and luckily, VMware Broadcom puts these exam guides out for everybody to look, right? They're wide open about it. And a lot of the people that actually contribute to the exams talk about it, right? Do presentations, talk about VMUG. There's nothing to hide, and everybody does get different questions, right? It's all randomized.
Mm-hmm.
My background, I have some vSAN, NSX, a little bit of NSX, a lot of vSphere. That was my jam, and ARIA, right? The ARIA suite. So I had no clue. I've never even seen an SDDC manager. And so that is where I knew I needed some practice in. So I looked up a couple of YouTube videos, did some studying for a couple of days, and then I passed it. So it is not out of reach. How Bob said, right? If you live in vSphere, if that's your thing, it's not out of reach. I highly suggest you check out those 4 videos. And again, they're not replacement for it's definitely not a replacement for the learning at Broadcom stuff, like the official things that are going on. That stuff is way more in depth, and that will take you through everything. So please, if you have access to that, and that's how you can learn, please take advantage of it.
What I would say though is that I have access to it, so that's what I've been doing. The number of hours for all of the four major courses: vSAN, NSX, ESX, and Cloud Manager Broker. It's about 200 hours, right? And they're not, and then they're underestimating. If you don't know any of this stuff, it's going to take you longer. Like I swear to God, I'm in it for 400 hours because I go slow. But what I would say about your stuff, Frankie, is that you kind of give the cliff notes, right? Because the Broadcom courses are extensive. They test you all along the way. You have to take the little mini tests, and it goes slow. You got to research it and know it, and the tests are tricky. And so, like, where your course material is probably much more to the point. So I would say that.
Yeah,
but I would say if you have VCF license, your enterprise has those coursework for free, so you can go take it.
And there's to your point, there's always that gap between there's all this information being shot at you like out the end of a fire hose, basically, but you're only really going to get tested on a certain amount of it, and so if you can cut to it, actually we don't want to stand in the way of you actually being able to use this stuff and try
Right.
it. So
Right.
that also plays in here too.
Like for instance, this folder is my study notes. I don't know if I can, like, I got whole study notes, like 30 pages of study notes from the vSAN course, right, that I took, right? So a little excessive, but nonetheless, I know it now. So that's now I'm dangerous. Fun times. As always, I know we're at the top of the hour. So anybody got, we live stream on youtube.com/vbarbecue. You can go, follow us there. You can also find us on Spotify. So just the Roundtime Community Podcast, you can go there, follow us there. We're also on iTunes. You can follow us there. And then Julia Klaus live streams us on, I think, X today, as well as our YouTube channel. So we're live streaming.
Yeah, we've got a good audience over on X.
Three different places. Yeah. I think we've had like maybe 60 people listening on the show today, real time. And then we get a lot of
all of you,
people. Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah. Makes us feel like we're not talking to ourselves, that actually we got people listening, and we got several thousand people that listen to the audio and on their cars on the way home and so forth. So we get those numbers as well. So it's good. Nice to be here. Anybody got any good barbecue stories? I did a tri-tip again.
Probably for dinner tonight. There's a couple of places here in New Orleans. The Joint over in the Bywater. If you're down in New Orleans, the Joint is a great place. I'm probably going to go over there, but see what they've got for brisket.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're living the dream. I'm jealous. Vacation in New Orleans, 72-degree weather, not rainy and cold. Gotta like that. No, I haven't done anything. I have 2 pork loins that I'm going to do something with, right? And I usually use like a dry rub and and put them on charcoal and just
pork loin is lean though, and so you kind of have to watch that, so.
Dry it out.
Yeah, not like a big old pork shoulder, which is just half fat.
Half fat,
like
right?
That, so.
No, these are lean, and that's fine. I just get some applesauce and baked beans and
higher temp, go faster, that sort of thing.
Go fast.
Frankie, you barbecuing anything?
No, we actually just had sushi. It was my birthday 2 days ago, so
happy birthday, man!
Thank you. Yeah, we go eat sushi all the time when we as our treat.
That's a special meal sort of thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent.
Exactly. No, but the last time I barbecued, I like to just go get ribs, just a big old rack of ribs. Luckily for me, my son and I eat meat here in the house. So all I have to buy is 2 racks of ribs, and you clean it up, and then you slow cook it in the grill in the backyard. Oh man, it takes forever, but I love it.
Yeah, I have not figured out ribs yet. I need to practice ribs. That's like I can do briskets better than I can do ribs, and at this point.
Ribs is about seasoning the day before. Definitely. I do little jerk sauce, salt, pepper, and then a dry rub, and then let it sit overnight. Then,
I got to figure it out.
Then a 3-2-1
weekend, and just have a meat fest where I just practice ribs for 4 days straight, that sort of thing.
And then a long smoke, right? Like a long, the slower the better, because the ribs get a nice crusty. Ribs are easy. It's a brisket I can't get.
I'm all right with the brisket. My brisket turns out really well now,
but I think it's what you started with too. I started
maybe it is
ribs, and I got good. The first few times were bad, and over time I talked to people that did ribs, and I just got really good at ribs. But God, I got a brisket, and I just murder it. I can't do it. Yeah.
Tony's saying in the chat that he did chicken nuggets, sausage, and a bunch of pasta. Yeah, sausage is actually, I've got a bunch of venison that I need to make into sausage. That's actually probably my next smoker project. So.
Awesome. Well, we're at the end of the hour. Thanks a lot for showing up and listening to us. And go. We're looking forward to any VMUG you get to. Go show some love. And remember, VMUG Advantage, $200 a year. It's not just about getting your license. It's not about getting your home lab set up. it's also about just supporting the community. VMUG is a .org. They have to raise money to put on all the events. So if you sign up for $200 a year, hopefully you can expense it with your company and get out to some VMUG meetings and support the community, support VMUG. These guys are really great. They're out of Nashville, Tennessee. They run the whole org, a lot of volunteers, and that $200 goes a long way to pay for things that they like to put on. So, we try to make it worth your while with license and all that, but don't forget, $200 a year for a community is a great thing for those guys. And VMware gives them multiple millions of dollars. Broadcom gives them. Hawk's been supportive of all that, but they also like to be able to say that they're kind of community funded at the same time. Because you know what they like to do? They like to tell us, no, go away, Broadcom. We're community funded, and that requires them.
That's actually pretty cool. So
yeah, it is.
As much as
all right, guys. Thanks a lot. I'm going to go hit the big stop button over on TalkShoe. Here we go. See you later.